Hello class, this is your teacher Mr. McDougall with your next Photoshop tutorial. In this lesson I'm going to teach you how to create the dispersion effect. So we're going to take some subjects and we're going to disperse them and disintegrate them just like this. So this is the effect we will be creating in Photoshop. So you can see dispersion effect for today. As always, download today's exercise files. Here's an example of what I just showed you. We'll take this guy and we will disintegrate him among some other subjects. So pause the video if you have to so you can download all of your files and get ready to join me here on this guy. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to edit as non-destructively as we can. There will be some destructive editing, but we'll do our best to mitigate that. And we will start by duplicating the background twice. So Command J to duplicate the background. So we have two copies. This middle one, so this first copy that we made, this middle one, this is going to be the new background. So I'm going to call this one new background. We're going to make several copies, so I'm going to name all of them so we don't get mixed up and it's just easier to follow along. So that second one I called new background. This one is just going to be called copy for right now. And we will hide the background for a second, the original. We're going to hide that one, and we're going to hide this copy one. And we're going to first start by editing this new background. We're going to leave the original untouched so we can always come back to it if we need to. But this new background, we are going to take this guy out of it completely. So in order to do that, we need to go to our lasso tool. So click on your lasso tool. We've used this one before with content aware, and we're going to do the same thing to get rid of this guy. So he's taking up a lot of space, but it should still be doable because there's not much going on in the background. So take your lasso tool and do a nice rough drawing around him, all the way around, and you're going to go outside the frame, which is fine. So if I go outside the frame like this, that's totally fine. You can see the line stays inside the frame, and just keep dragging your mouse all the way around. I'm still holding my mouse the whole time. You got to hold it the whole time with the lasso tool and keep dragging it all the way up. Connect it back again. If you drag your mouse outside the frame, like I said, that's totally fine until we select it. We got as close as we can, so now we are going to use the fill and content aware. So let's go up to edit and then fill. Make sure this is set to content aware if it's not already, and then click OK. It will analyze him 1, 2, 3, take a second, and then it will remove him completely. So it assumed the background, since it saw two colors, it just went like this, but that's okay. We're still going to have him kind of cover up this area, so you won't be able to tell this line right here anyway. So let's Command D to deselect everything. And now we're going to come here to our copy, and we're going to select and mask out this guy to remove him from the background. And I'm going to show you a slightly easier and faster way to select him because he's a pretty clean photo of a subject. So let's go to our quick selection tool. And you could select him rather quickly because he's such an easy subject to see. You can see that he's very clearly separated from the background. And if you have something like that and you want to select the whole subject, let me show you a little button you might have noticed but may never have clicked before until now. So if you come up here to select subject, you click on that, ta-da, it selected him completely just like that. Once he's selected, you're going to click add a layer mask. And now if we hide the background, he's masked out. And it even did a pretty good job of cleaning up his hair. Now you may be asking yourself, why did Mr. McDougall not teach us the select subject button all along from the very beginning? And the reason for that is because it's not that great, and you may not need to select the whole subject the whole time, and you still need to understand how the quick selection tool works. So for example, if we go back to previous lesson with the my name one, if I take this one and I do select subject to select all of me, it'll take a second, but I could see if I zoom in a little bit that it's not perfect. I still have to fix it. There's still an image right here because it's confusing, so I still have to go in with my quick selection tool and clean that up, clean up everywhere else. Any other spots like right here, not that good. I would have to clean all of this up right here with the quick selection tool and the selected mask anyway. So there are going to be times when you'll still need to do it. The select subject is good. The AI is pretty awesome, but it's not perfect. Same thing with this one. If I click select subject, I only want the burger, but I could see that it's also selecting parts of the wrapping paper and things like that. So I would still need to go in with my quick selection tool and clean these up as well. So the select subject is great if you have a great photo like this where the subject is clearly defined and you want to select them. However, it's not always the case. Very rarely is it the case, so we still need to understand the quick selection tool and clean up when needed. So that's why I saved it until now. Okay, so now that we've done that, we are going to take this copy, the one of the guy masked out that's called copy, take that and we're going to duplicate it again, Command J, to duplicate it one more time. This one, this new copy, we're going to right click on the picture right here, on this little black and white image, right click on it and choose Apply Layer Mask. So it's going to take it and put the layer mask right on the guy, so the background is gone, but we don't see this mask link anymore. And then again, we are going to make one final copy. So Command J one more time to make a copy. And again, I like to rename the layers because otherwise we have copy. It's getting too confusing. So this very top layer right here, the very top one, we're going to rename this one to subject. And we're going to rename this one right here to liquefy. Because that's what we're going to do to that one. So that just keeps it more organized. And this middle layer, this original copied mask one that we did, we're going to hide this one for a second. So click on that to hide it. So your layers panel should look like this. If it looks like this, then you've done it correctly so far. If not, rewind the video and go back, make sure you did this correctly. Should have this masked out one on the top called subject, this copy of it called liquefy, this middle one called copy with the layer mask, and that one's hidden. We have the new background, which is just the background by itself without the guy in it. And then we have the original photo right there. So on this liquefy one, click on that one, and we're going to do just that. We're going to liquefy them. We're not going to do a smart object for this one because we're only going to do a little bit of liquefaction, and if we needed to, we can always copy the layer one more time. So we're just going to do it without doing the smart filter for this one. So let's go to filter and liquefy. And for this one, we're going to have a little bit of fun. Make sure you're on your forward work tool. And we're just going to take this whole right side of his body and just make it all liquidy all the way to the right like this. We're just going to take it and just go crazy with it. We want to stretch it all the way out to the right side. However you want, completely cover the entire right side of the screen. And you can even swirl it and move it around if you want. Just don't show any of this checkerboard pattern on this side. We want all of it to go away and completely cover the right half of the screen like this. Just go nuts, have fun, however you want to do it. You can pull them out a little bit, we can make them all weird. We just want the whole right half of his body to look like that. However you want to do it. That looks good. I'm digging that. Okay, perfect. Then click OK. So you can see what's happening so far. He looks normal on this one because of this top layer. If I hide the top layer, you can see our liquefying one. So now we're going to add two different kinds of masks right here, and we'll start brushing it, and then that will be the effect. So on your liquefy one, this one right here, we're going to create an inverted mask. So to create an inverted mask, you're going to click this button, but while you're clicking it, you're going to hold the Option key on your keyboard. So hold Option, click the mask. So now it's black, which means this whole layer is being hidden, which is why we don't see it anymore. And on this one, the very top layer, we're just going to create a regular layer mask. So I'm not going to hold Option or anything on my keyboard, and then I'm just going to click layer mask like that. So I have a white mask on the top and a black mask on the bottom. So let's start by brushing this top mask right here. Click on this mask, make sure you have the white mask highlighted. Let's go to our brush, just the brush tool. And we're going to use that spatter brush again that we used back in the paint effects. So I clicked on this folder icon right here, go over to brushes, and we're going to go to the special effects brushes again and choose one of these three spatter brushes right here. On that one, and if we go to our brush settings, we should have the shape dynamics and the scattering turned on, and we can mess around however you want with those just to randomize the effect. And then we'll close this menu for right now. So since I'm on a white mask, in order for it to work, I need to make sure that black is set to my foreground color. So I'm going to switch these so I have black. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slowly, carefully paint the whole right side of his body with this scatter brush. So if I just start clicking right here, you may have to adjust your brush size as you go. So again, clicking around like that. Clicking and holding a little bit, but not too long, because as you let go, it will start to randomize it. So I'm just going to click and hold slightly, changing my brush size, make it a little smaller sometimes, make it a little bigger sometimes. just to increase the randomness. Like that, and it'll start to make him disappear. So you don't want to go too far. If you get over on the left side a little bit, that's okay. But we don't want it to randomize too much. So I may have set mine on random too much. But we want to mostly do the right side of his body. And we're just going to do most of it like that. So you can click and hold a little bit, click and hold and let go, until the whole right side of his body mostly is almost disintegrated. We're not going to do it completely. We want to still see some leftover remnants of his body there, a little bit like that. That's looking pretty good. So disintegrate most of the half of his body, but leave some. So now it looks like he's disintegrating. All right, so now we're going to go to the black mask right here. Click on this one. And we're going to keep our brush the same, but you can also change the scattering if you want. I think I'm going to change my scattering because mine seems like it's too much. Turn scattering. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. And you might feel the same. But all we need to do is, now that we're on the black mask, we're just going to switch to white. So now we're going to brush with white. And this one, you don't want to hold your brush. You just want to click it randomly around here. So just start clicking around this side, changing your brush size as you go, because it will randomize it. And you can see what's happening is now it's revealing the area that we liquefied. So these little spots of liquefaction that we did, that's starting to come back. But we just want to keep it as these random spots. You don't want to overdo it because then you'll start to notice the liquefying effect again. So we want it to be these random dots as much as possible. See right here, it's starting to look a little bit too much. So I might want to go back and brush this part up again just to be safe. You don't want to start seeing the liquefaction part come out. So you want to click very lightly until it just looks like little specks. Perfect. There you go. And that is the dispersion effect. So repeat those same steps on your remaining dispersion files. You have dispersion 2 as well. Do the same thing and disperse this guy. Disperse this soccer player on number 3 and this guy on number 4 as well. You don't have to do the same right side every single time. You could do the left side or a different area or explode most of the body, however you want to do it. But just have fun kind of messing around making these guys disintegrate. Okay, as always, take your screenshots, have fun, and let me know if you have any questions.